Welcome to Health and Safety Conversations. Here's your host, Tom Bourne.
It's time for Insights with Marc Miles, shaping adult learning one lesson at a time. Please welcome back Marc Miles.
Mark, how are you?
I'm really good. Excited to be here, Tom. Thanks for the invite.
No worries. You're always welcome here, Mark. So, Mark, what are we here to talk about today?
Well, I am going to potentially jump off a cliff and hopefully I land safely with the topic that I'm about to talk about today, which is the TAE, the Certificate for in Training and Assessment, fit for purpose? Can you already feel the tension in the room, Tom? Can you feel the tension?
I can. Remind me again, why would anyone need a TAE?
I like how you start off with that question. So in the world of RTO, so registered training organizations, in order to be a qualified registered trainer, you need to have this magical piece of paper. And the TAE 22 is the latest one. Prior to that, there was a TAE 16. Prior to that, there was a TAE 10. Prior to that, I won't go into, but there's a long history of this magical piece of paper that qualifies you to speak in front of audiences and train people and assess them.
Okay. I seem to remember the two iterations before that was the TAA, and I go way back to the BSZ, which is back in the dinosaur age. It's certainly been around in many forms for quite some time. The 22, what's so different about it than its previous versions?
Oh, you're going for the nuts and bolts there with that question. I like it. Well, as it currently stands, is 6 core and 6 elective. Where it's kind of different, I guess there's a heavy emphasis now on assessors being able to do validations, or excuse the tech speak there, but being able to do quality review of assessments before they're used and also assess other assessors. So really strong focus on quality control. I think with the TA 22, there are 3 streams. So there is a training and assessment stream and the other 2 streams there as well. So the old TA 16, I don't really like saying the word old, but the previous one was 9 core and 1 elective. And every iteration has seemed to have a different sort of focus area, or sort of an area that the training package developer thought would be a good area to focus on. If we focused on that area, then training assessment would just be wonderful in the industry of the vet sector. So every iteration, it's like, well, if we just fix that, then everything would be good, so to speak. That's kind of been my view of the evolution of the TAE.
Okay. Down to the question you were asking, is it fit for purpose?
And this is where I'm going to jump off the cliff and hopefully land safely. All right. So I guess the short answer is, in my opinion, no. But the interesting thing with the TAE is that, yes, there is a portion of people that undertake the course because they want to work at an RTO or work at TAFE. But we also find a very large portion of people that start to undertake the TAE because it is deemed the, I guess, desired qualification for a lot of workplace trainers to have. And many people undertake it not realizing that it's very tailored and very focused on RTO, I guess, roles and functions that somebody may undertake. So you often get a lot of people going through the course with questions like, oh, what is this? Why am I doing this? And am I actually ever going to use this? So I guess the other part about it is the qualification actually aligned to what a trainer in an RTO is actually going to do? And so I would postulate that many times we really need to step back and actually ask ourselves, is the unit or is the qualification that somebody is undertaking actually going to lead towards them being able to do the thing in the workplace, and in the workplace, is it actually the thing that they're actually going to do, in very simplistic terms. So, for example, in the TAE, it actually requires them to attend validations or to design things. But when you actually step back and think about a trainer's role, many things in the TAE a trainer will not actually do in the workplace. And for me, it's kind of a little bit interesting. There's kind of a little bit of a disconnect there. I would say that generally all a trainer needs to be able to do is to make a basic session plan. They need to be able to engage an audience and have the skills to be able to do that, whether that's face-to-face or online. They need to be able to conduct assessments, but normally the assessment's already written for them. So they need to be able to, use some assessments. They need to be able to give quality feedback, and they need to be able to have professional, conversations with a student, setting them up for success and giving them feedback to get them back on the right track. Things like that. They really don't need to do a lot of the big, extensive tasks that are often asked of them within the TAE 22 as it is. So for me, I would just potentially say that there's a little bit of a disconnect between the qualification and what a trainer and assessor actually does back in the workplace, whether that's a general workplace or whether it's an actual RTO, so to speak. And, I can't speak for every qualification, but I do think the TAE could use a little bit more of analysis and job skill defining to see if there's really some opportunities for plugging the holes or plugging the gaps. And I'm sure you'll probably agree with me, Tom. I'm sure there'll be another iteration with the TAE development over the next decade. There'll be another one that comes out. But Tom, your thoughts on the TAE?
All right.
Have I said anything that's completely off the mark? How do you see it?
I could play devil's advocate, Mark, and say that's where the beautiful thing about skill sets come in, and that a lot of workplace facilitators or assessors or whatever you want to, little pathway you want to go on, they would be much more suited to do a skill set than to do the full qualification. That's the other thing. But
100% agree.
There is this other thing. This idea of electives, core units and electives, in theory, is a brilliant idea, because I'm a student, I want to focus on this area. I choose your RTO because you choose these electives. In theory.
In theory.
Because 99% of RTOs choose the same elective. And if you do the qualification, you're left with, well, too bad, too sad. You don't like it, go somewhere else. I've never heard, I don't think I've heard of RTOs tailoring a qualification specifically for individuals. There's a number of reasons for that. So I don't think the whole idea, although it's a great idea about electives, I don't know if that actually works in the commercial reality of RTO land.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think in theory, it would be amazing if a student could actually look at a list of the electives and go, yeah, that one interests me. That one, that is perfect for my needs and the career that I want to go down. And when you look at the electives and I guess the 3 different streams that are available for the TAE 22, I think in theory, it's a great idea. And yet, in practice, it doesn't really work because, as you've alluded to, most RTOs will generally look through the list of electives and they're going to pick out the most common and the most popular ones that people, or that the RTO thinks that people would want, and it puts together its package. And I guess the only place it really does give you maybe a little bit of a selection or variety, maybe if you go to TAFE, I don't know. But for me, in theory, again, it's a great idea. But we all know that if you go to an RTO, generally it is, you get what you're given. And you really, also from the RTO side of things, it doesn't really offer the 3 streams because cost effectiveness, and also technically the trainer that's actually delivering those electives should actually have a background in those electives as well. So yeah, there's a lot of sort of barriers to individualized TAE programs, so to speak. But yeah, you raise a really great point there.
Do you think that if I was sending a group of my workplace trainers to an RTO, if I was informed enough, I won't say intelligent enough, but maybe wise enough, I could actually meet with the RTO and say, right, this is what we want our people to do. What are the electives that they do? And as a cohort, we could actually design the electives for that cohort, and it still be good for the students, good for the employer, and good financially for the RTO.
Yes, and I think in the ideal utopian universe, I think an RTO would have all the training and assessment learning resources available across all 3 streams, be able to deliver all of the electives, and have those available. I think that in that scenario where a cohort has a tailored program, fantastic. That would be optimal. But I think, yeah, just to the nature of the TAE, I think any client is going to be hard pressed to find an RTO that may have exactly what they're looking for. Now, again, the core popular electives are most commonly the delivery electives, which is fair enough. But I do think there is definitely an opportunity for RTOs to have a fuller range of offerings to the marketplace. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What I'm going to play dumb here because I know you know the answer. What stops having RTOs having a wider spread of units that they can offer than just the normal, commonplace, accepted electives?
So, one thing is cost of development of resources. It can take time to develop learning resources and assessments for every unit. Also, it's kind of a question of, well, will people even be interested in these electives if we have them? And also, it's like, well, we need to make sure that we've got trainers that can deliver those electives as well. So,
Yep.
those, I guess, are the 3 things that come to mind for me. Um, in regards to your area of speciality with the safety side of things, would you say that's very similar in regards to other electives on a Cert 4 or a
Oh,
diploma
it's
WHS?
100%. It goes
Mm,
across the whole vet industry. It's just not financially viable to have the full suite of electives. Then you might have 2 students in a 3-year period that want that elective, let alone employ a casual or a contractor who is experienced and specialized in those electives. It's financially impossible. So whilst I think, yeah, great idea electives, I think fundamentally when we go down that path, we're ignoring the financial realities. And even with TAFE these days, from what I've seen, won't let you specialize. It's really, you get what you get, and if you don't like it, go somewhere else. But good luck, because everyone else has got exactly the same units because they're the easiest able to develop. They go across a number of different streams, and we've generally got someone who knows something about it. So yeah, it's interesting. You
mm.
talked about each TAE version has a new focus. And the last one, which had the focus on things like LLN and assessing at a higher level, designing assessment tools, etc. What would you say the focus of the 40122 is?
You're not going to like my answer, but my answer is I don't know.
That's all
Um,
right. That's
yeah,
the answer I thought
that
too.
is right. Um, and I guess to be absolutely honest, I actually think the LLN unit was a great unit. I
Mm.
actually think the 502, although it had its complications, was a great unit. The ambiguity around the 22, yes, I would say, the working in the vet sector unit, and it's a good inclusion. But again, it's very tricky when a lot of students doing the TA are not actually going to work in an RTO. Then we have the design units, and I'm like, okay, very similar to the last one. But for me, at the end of the day, a lot of students, they still come out not really understanding how to put together a good quality presentation. They may know how to put together a learning program plan or a learning strategy. They'll never do it, but that's an assessment. Delivery units, okay, they're delivering to a group of 4 students. Okay, does that really represent the reality? I'm going to fall off a cliff on this one and say possibly not. I don't know. I can't really remember the last time I delivered a presentation to 4 learners. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm an anomaly, but yeah, I don't think I've ever delivered to 4 students, 30-minute session. Never done that one before. But when I first started out in the vet sector, I think I had a group of, I think it was like 22 students, diploma of leadership and management, and get in the classroom, Mark, you're off and running, right? That was my induction into the vet sector. But 4 students, there you go. You're good to go if you can do 4 students. But anyway, and then the assessing units, apparently, if you can review some documents and you can conduct, I think, 3 assessments, then apparently you're qualified. But again, I'm jumping off a cliff on this one. I could be highly persecuted for my opinions, but that's okay. I'm just speaking from the coalface, so to speak, and I know my feedback is not very valued, but that's okay. I'm just hint, nudge, nudge out there to some people out there in the big wide world. But I don't know. That's kind of just been my experience. The TAE 22, if you do it with me, you'll have an amazing experience, of course. But whether or not it's, how do we put it, fit for purpose,
Yeah.
yeah, just don't know. Just don't know.
Yeah. You know why they've dropped that down to 4 people, don't you? You've been around enough that you know why they've done that. I don't know
Enlighten
how
me,
many
Tom. Enlighten me.
students I don't know how many students who've signed up for a course like this, and they've got to present to a minimum of 8 people, and they
Mm,
go, I don't even have 8 friends. There's
no.
eight, there's not 8 people in my community. What am I going to do?
Yes.
And so we've just taken the approach, let's just cut it in half. Surely you've got 4 friends somewhere, right?
Yes. Yes.
Surely you can hold their attention for half an hour at a time between introduction and conclusion. There's at least 10 minutes of learning somewhere
mm,
crammed in there.
yeah.
Uh, it seems to be, I don't know, the Forrest Gump. We've got every different type of chocolate thrown in there. We've become so generalised, but we've got these specialised streams that no one's ever going to offer you anyhow. But at least in
Oh,
theory,
Tom, blasphemy. Blasphemy. What are you
well,
talking about?
it's true. You know,
I absolutely do.
oh,
These are the raw conversations, aren't they?
so I've
Yep.
got to tell you, my experience is I've never seen a qualification that is hated as much as any version of the TAE. Never ever. The things you get accused of as a TAE trainer. Oh, it's another version. Oh, it's another money spinner, etc., etc., etc. And you can understand this. You're a trainer of doing some specific field, and now you've been told literally every 3 to 4 years you've got to upgrade your qualification if you want to continue in your job. It's a bit of a stretch. So when you're saying it's not fit for purpose, I just want to get this down on recording. Is Marc Miles arguing that we need a new upgrade, and is it necessary for trainers and assessors to actually get?
I'm arguing for a stringent job skill analysis based on what a trainer and assessor actually does in an RTO, and then potentially having a non-RTO version of a trainer assessing qualification. Does that make sense, Tom?
That'd be good. That'd be real good. For all
Yeah.
the soft skills trainers out there, one of the things I think you and I both know is there is a lot of misunderstanding in industry about when it's required and when it's not. And we have people that are responsible for getting their people training who just go, just get it. I did mine in a week 10 years ago. Just get it. And it's certainly not like that now. And it's certainly not one size fits all. And there's a lot of training and education and teaching that you don't actually need either the qualification for, or let alone, or even the full qualification. And I think that's one of the unfortunate things. It is one of the most misunderstood qualifications. But I hate to tell you, Mark, I can't see it improving. We seem to do this yo-yo thing in its versions. We go from one way, which is a stack of compliance required. We go the other way, which is all hands off, and you basically, can get it qualification in a Wheaties box. So who knows where we're going next? But I'll leave it to smarter minds like yours to try and influence people. I thank goodness, at least I believe, stopped trying to deliver the qualification some time ago.
Yeah.
As a bit too hard for me to actually explain to students as the various nuances that are available, and to try and get them to see that one size fit it all.
I'm an advocate for people who are going to work in an RTO. Absolutely do it. It is the best thing that will ever get you sort of the fundamental knowledge. In regards to training and presenting skills, that's a different conversation. Absolutely, if you hang out with me, you're definitely going to really sort of finesse and polish and be a really good standout trainer. And, people can read my book and come along to my 2-day workshop that's happening in July for those added skills for sure. I had to do the plug there, right? But ultimately, I think if people come in with the right expectations, i.e., it's going to help you understand the vet sector, be able to understand the paperwork of the vet sector, and perform the basic functions of a trainer assessor in the vet sector, great. But if it's more soft skills training, development that you want to sort of get better at, then it may not be the optimal qualification to undertake. And if you can access, some of the skill sets of the TAE, that's definitely going to be your better option, so to speak. And if it does evolve again and there's another iteration, all I'm saying is let's advocate for more, more clear-cut alignment to what a trainer assessor actually does on a day-to-day basis. Has that kind of summed it up there well, Tom?
Certainly has.
Yeah, awesome.
Marc Miles, always a pleasure speaking to you, and I'll look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks for listening to Health and Safety Conversations with Tom Bourne. Until next time, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your week.